Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And as you can see, we are over in Crushbone at the wall. What is this? Crushbone shoulder pads. Not sure why he gave me those. Maybe it's my turn on the rotation or something, but I'll take them. Can do the quest for those. I haven't really shown turning in the shoulder pads on a big scale yet because I just haven't had that many to turn in. But they're supposed to be pretty good experience even at this level, all the way up to around level 15, I hear, is about the point where you really don't get too much experience anymore. But we'll have to see when we turn them in how much we get. So we just got another Cleric and an Enchanter. So now we have 3 Clerics with us. So maybe a little too much healing power there, but you know, we can always switch off, and I'll probably put my attack on Word of Pain. I have to see if this is an area effect or not. Probably it is, and then we're probably going to regret using it, but so close to breaking triple digits. Triple digits on what? Oh, on backstab. He's almost at 100. I heard noise at front door, sorry. So you can see that I'm almost level 13, and I'll probably keep playing until I'm past 13. I don't like that number, and if you guys have watched my episodes, some of you guys may have noticed that when I put episodes up, it's missing the 13th episode. It just goes from level 12 to 13. So yeah, I know you guys have made comments on it. That's why I just don't like having it there. It's just, you know, tradition. It's stupid, I know, but it's you know, just I don't like putting that down. I don't like being on level 13 for long. I get through it as fast as possible, even if that means I have to stay on for like 12 hours straight to do it, which is probably what we'll have to do here to get past that really quick. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move over to Unrest as soon as we get to level 14, for the main reason that at level 14 we get our new level spells, and I get a new heal spell. So finally, I'll be able to actually heal people, tanks preferably, at a higher degree of efficiency. I'll be able to actually heal higher level tanks and actually show that I'm healing them more than just you know, 1% of their health, which is pretty close to what I'm doing at anybody at like level 15 to 20. Right now, when I heal Thor here, I think I'm doing like 5 to 7%, and that's with my greatest level heal. You can see it's just not doing a lot. 92 to 98 is not a lot of healing power. So it's just, it kind of sucks. You really can't keep up with the kind of tanking and the kind of pulling that is in Unrest if you don't have a greater heal. So of course you can go there, I believe, at like level 12, and you might be able to find a group and do a little bit of killing, but you're probably going to be the reason they have to slow down their pulls. I'm a terrible enchanter, by the way, learning the class. I got to give you props just for trying the class. I mean, that's a hard class to play. No worries, we have 3 clerics. So that means we got plenty of healing power, we just don't have a lot of DPS. So let me heal this guy real quick. Let's see, Legionnaire is even. Can I go ahead and cast? Oh, he's already dead. Just gonna go ahead and cast my Word of Pain. See how much damage it does, but we'll have to wait for the next bad guy to do that. Yeah, I've mentioned several times in the past how I have a lot of respect for enchanters. Probably too much. I mean, it's probably not that hard of a class. I just give them more credit than they deserve, maybe. And then on the other hand, maybe I don't give them enough. You know, I don't really know. I just know that when you have one, it's amazing when you have a good one. And when you don't have a good one, yeah, you notice. It's really noticeable. It's crazy though, because I played both healer and puller quite a bit. Those were my 2 main classes, as a Shadow Knight and a Cleric. So I've seen from both sides what a good pooler can do and what a bad pooler can do. I've seen what a good cleric can do, or a good healer can do, and what a bad healer can do. And I've been told I'm a pretty good healer, and that I was an excellent pooler. So I got that going. Hold on, let me a second. Let me use this on this Legionnaire here. Now he is even to me at level 12. Let's see. Did it say how much damage he did? Or how much damage it took? Nah, it didn't. It's not that I would have saw. Oh, there it goes. 27 non-melee damage. So 27 damage, using quite a bit of power too, and he's not really taking hits that well. Yeah, that's not very cost efficient on the damage. It looks pretty cool though. I like the way the effect comes off on it. Oh crap. Healer, healer. No, don't die. No! That's what I get for not paying attention. Come on, heal, heal. Oh man. She's running for her life. Usually I would say never run around in circles like that. But in her situation, because she's literally staying in range of the healing, perfectly fine. That would be the only acceptable reason to doing what she's doing. And because she was running around in circles, she saved her life. Now the tank was busy doing what he was doing. Oh great, I'm out of power. I gotta sit down. Hopefully she doesn't die. That's 2 healers out of power. Hopefully the third one will be able to keep up with it. The one she brought with her. Okay, no more stuns. So she was trying something different just like I was. And apparently those creatures do not like getting stunned by enchanters. They don't mind getting stunned by clerics. Yeah, it's never a good idea. Stuns are very dangerous. Please don't kite around unless you can snare. It makes it impossible for the tanks to get aggro back, or for me to do DPS and kill whatever is killing you. Now, I've said that before, it's incredibly hard for the tank to keep up with it, but he was busy taking something else out, and it didn't look like he was going to switch targets and try to taunt it off. So, you know, she did save herself by doing that, but I understand both points of views. Yeah, there was a level 9 druid spell. I want to say that's a very short stun. Pulls crazy aggro, and most druids don't know why. I've never had issues with my stun as a cleric. Granted, I've always used it at the end of a fight. You know, when the creature's about to heal himself or do something like that. Never really used it at the beginning of the fight, so maybe that's why I've never noticed a huge amount of aggro, because the tank has already built up a huge amount by the time I start to use it. Yeah, it's that whirlwind nuke. Has a min stun in it. Yeah, same as all enchanter nukes. So yeah, you just have to learn your class little by little, figure out what spells are good, and it's better to do it now at this level than it is to wait and, you know, experiment at a higher level and try to figure things out, because at least now creatures are not that tough. Why did he leave the group? Okay, maybe did he go link dead? No, he's right there. Huh. I'm not sure what he's doing. I see how it is. What happened? Maybe. Probably gonna go to sleep soon. Pretty close to shift. Re-invite him. So yeah, he must have clicked out by accident. Control D. I didn't know that disbanded, but I guess that's a good way to leave your group if you don't want to hit the button. We're about to lose Thor here, our actual tank. So we'll have to find another one. We have plenty of healing power. We just don't really have a lot of DPS. Of course, we have a rogue here to backstab, but now that our tank is leaving, we're going to have to find at least a warrior, a paladin, or a shadow, somebody to take his place that can take the hits. And that's not an easy thing to do if you ever want to get inside. Can I get a regen, please? I don't have one, so I can't give it to you because he's talking to the To who? We don't even have a druid here. We have 3 clerics. So I don't know who he's talking to. Big goofball, maybe. Maybe that guy has one. Hates Chanters. I love Chanters. I love the clarity they can cast. I love the mezzing they can do. They also have a few other like debuff spells, and I believe they have a couple spells that literally slow the enemy down in his attack, which is a rare thing because Shadow Knights and Druids both get like a snare. Shadow Knights is Dooming Darkness, and Druids, what was that one? I think it's called Entangle or something like that, or maybe it's just Snare is what they get. But it slows their movement speed down, but not their attack. And so if you can slow their attack down, that's like an anti-haste, which speeds it up, obviously. I hate Rangers. Rangers are just played wrong. Yeah, they killed Rangers with the experience penalty. Oh, I didn't know they had an experience penalty. That kind of seems wrong. Like, why would you give them a penalty to experience? Maybe a penalty to agility or stamina or some stat that makes sense, but a penalty to your actual experience? What are you trying to say? That they're mentally disabled to the point where when they kill a creature they don't learn as much as somebody else does? And that's that seems kind of messed up. Trying to find your replacement. So yeah, I never knew that was the case, but that seems very biased against a class for no particular reason. I mean, Rangers are pretty, I don't want to say, crappy, but they're not a great combination of any class. They're not like a warrior and a cleric where you get like a paladin who can tank and heal, or a Shadow Knight, which is a combination of a warrior and a necro. So he can both, tank and dot and life suck, which is a good combination. But a ranger, I guess, would be like a combination between a warrior and a druid, and then you get like a ranger because they have the tracking ability, and they can kind of, a little bit on the tanking side, not really at all, but I guess you could kind of say they could. Yeah, I don't know what combination they would be of, and if you would even consider them a combination at all, but to really penalize them sucks. I mean, if you penalized a paladin or a Shadow Knight, those I could understand because they're pretty good, and I guess you want to nerf them a little bit because they're so good. Me, I would just kind of lower their spells so they weren't as good, and then keep the penalties out of it otherwise. But I don't know. I'm not quite sure why they would do that. If you guys have any clue or any thoughts on the subject, if you guys played a ranger, was the penalty really that bad? How hard was it to level? Did you find that people were getting 2, 3, 4 levels more per one level that you were getting at some levels, or was it like a 25% reduction of experience that was kind of slower, but not that much slower? You didn't really progress that far behind your friends, which is another part that would suck because, this is a grouping game. This is a game that's very dependent on other players to be with, and if you're slowly leveling up with your friends, if you're playing a ranger, that means you're going to have to put in whatever percentage amount of time more than your friends are when they're not even on, just so that you can keep up with them. And that really sucks. That means you can't just play with your friends and level as they level. You're actually going to be behind them throughout the whole game unless you put a little bit of extra time in. And I don't know, that just doesn't seem right. That seems kind of counterproductive of what the game is meant for, to be played with friends and enjoyed with friends. And if you got to literally put more time in, like a job almost, just so that you can keep up with them, even though they're only on when you're on, I mean, I don't know, that just doesn't seem right. Let's see, are we going to get somebody else to 11 Druid? We need a tank, not another healer. I think we have a few too many healers as it is. Are you staying around much longer? Yeah, I'll be here for a while. I guess he wanted to see, who's going to actually stay and who's going to be leaving. And, if you're going to be leaving, they could probably get that druid to replace you, or maybe he has somebody in mind, but they have another person in tow with them. You don't really see it too often. But as I mentioned before in the past, I was actually dating a girl who played. Her name was Mystical. Last name is Sweetness, and yeah, Mystical Sweetness. But she was a mage, and she never really grouped all that much. And yeah, we made a pretty good combination. You would think it would be pretty good, because you'd have a mage who can cast, and you'd have a pet who could tank, and then you would have a cleric who can heal the pet. So you would think the three of you would be able to do pretty well. And we were kind of able to do a lot of places that most people weren't able to do. But as a cleric, I got so used to being in a group. It just was so slow trying to hunt with her by ourselves. I mean, it was enjoyable because we got to spend time together, which is what I like, but killing a creature and taking like 10 minutes to kill it versus taking, a minute and a half, 50 seconds to kill it with a group is a huge difference. And you get the same amount of experience from that creature whether you're with 6 people or with 1 person. Or I should say 5 people or 1 person. It doesn't matter how many people are in the group, you're still getting the same amount of experience. At least it felt that way to me. And it just, I don't know, it was just too slow because I got used to the groupage and the experience that you can get there and the fun that you got to have. I mean, when you're with 1 person, even if you're invested in a relationship with them and you enjoy their company a great deal, there's only so much you can talk about with that person before you've talked about everything that day. The next day all this stuff may happen and you may, have a whole bunch more to tell that person. But then you reach that other point, where you finish talking. 2 hours have gone by, 3 hours have gone by, and at that time I was playing the game for probably about 8-9 hours a day. I was doing it hardcore. I'd get off of work at like 1 in the morning because I worked at a theater, and we do the midnight showings every so often. And so I'd get off at like 1 in the morning, and I'd play until like 9 in the morning the next day. And I was one of those people. I'm not that way anymore because I love sleeping, but I was one of those people who only needed sleep like every 3 or 4 days. And so I would literally not sleep that much. And so I played all the time. And so after about 3 or 4 hours of just being with her, you run out of things to say. And when you're in a group, it's always somebody bringing something up. Oh, hold on a second, guys. I just heard that, my friend just stubbed his toe. I gotta go check it out. And that starts a whole conversation. Or, some jerk dented my car today at the grocery store. And that starts a whole different conversation, And it keeps it alive because you got more people there. And some of you guys may be saying, well, if you need more people in your conversation to keep it going, it's probably not that good of a relationship in the first place. Well, obviously it ended, so yeah, maybe it wasn't the greatest the greatest relationship, but it does help to have more people, in a group, especially if you're going to be there for long periods of time. And I don't know, when it comes to soloing, I'm definitely not the solo type. I will do it from time to time when I have to, but if I can choose any other means, if I can get into a group, if I can get a small, number of people together, or even a raid. I love raids. Raids are incredibly stressful the very first time you go to a zone because you don't know it at all, and you're still learning, how to play your class in a raid, because it's so different in a raid playing your class. You got to remember that, like in this group right now, we have 3 clerics. Well, that's super rare. That's never going to happen on an average basis. That's just craziness right there. But in a raid, you will have 3 or even 4 clerics. You're going to have 1 in each group, and you're going to have 4 groups. Or you may have 2 clerics, a shaman, and a druid. And so you kind of have to coordinate with those people because they don't just have it where, okay, everybody buffs up their own group and that's the way it is. No. They have it where if you have cleric buffs, the clerics give it to everybody in the raid. So everybody can get those cleric buffs. And if you're the only cleric, well, then you got to buff everybody in the raid. And that can take quite a long time, especially with people feeding you power, which is possible. I think Necros are able to feed you power. Enchanters, I think, may be able to. It's been a long time since I've been in a raid, so I'll have to find out about that stuff again. But a lot of classes, or not a lot of, but a few of them can feed you power literally by giving their power to you. And in a situation like that, they have plenty of power. They've already done everything they're doing while they're waiting for you to buff everybody up. And so you're able to kind of just constantly buff everybody up and have a decent power when you end. But when you do that, the shaman's going to be buffing everybody up, and the druid's going to be buffing everybody up. But when you have multiple healers, you have to coordinate. Who's the main healer? They're going to be in group 1, chances are. And they're going to be the main group. They're going to be the best tank you have, group 1. The best enchanter you have, group 1. The best healer you have, group 1. And then the other classes, what do they need for that specific raid? Is it a lot of sneaking around? Well, then they might have a rogue in group 1. Is it a lot of different difficult pools where they need a monk to fatigue death? Well, then they might have 1 or even 2 monks in the first group so that you can keep an eye on them and heal them as fast as possible. Or they may decide to have a separate group just of poolers that 2 or even 3 healers will be in that group to make sure that those poolers don't die. And all they are doing is either they're pooling or they're holding on to crowd control. So when you pull a mob, you may get an extra 2 or 3 mobs. I even remember in some of the zones, when you pull a mob, you have to worry about starting a triggering event. And the triggering event would be you kill that mob, and then all of a sudden, or you start fighting that mob, and you're burning the name down, and at 75% of his life, he spawns 12 mobs that jump out and start attacking the raid. And it's the responsibility of the secondary or third tanks to pull those mobs off of the raid so that your casters aren't getting beaten down and stuff like that. Pull them all off, take them to one little spot, and maybe have one group sit there and burn those down while the other 3 groups stay on the named. Maybe that's the technique, or maybe the technique is the main tank stays on the name, keeps aggro, while the rest of the raid switches off and kills the ads, burns them down as fast as possible. Especially if it's going to spawn a whole nother set every 25% that it goes down in life. That's going to quickly overwhelm you if you don't, burn those down as fast as possible. So there's just different techniques for different mobs that you're going to be fighting, and you're going to have different, sets of characters in your group with different tasks that you're not really accustomed to. You're going to, instead of like just regular healing, make sure you heal him when he goes down on life so that he can, stay alive. You may be told, don't heal him at all until he gets down to about 10%, and then hit him with a complete heal. Because if you heal him before then, you're going to still aggro from the named, and he's going to kill you in like 1 hit. And so there's a lot of different things you have to remember and techniques you got to master, and you just really have to change the playstyle that you are accustomed to when you're in one of those raids. And it's really hard. I mean, it's not an easy thing sometimes, but after 1 or 2 times going to that zone, oh great, they're all gonna come smack me in the head in a second. There they go. Oracle and a pawn, but thankfully we have an enchanter, and that's why I love enchanters. Well, we have 2 oracles, and she's doing it the old-fashioned way. You can literally see she was trying to get around that legionnaire to target the oracle. I believe you can target creatures with the tab key. You can actually hit the tab key again and again and again, and it will take you through the mobs that are near you in order. Oh, great, she's gonna die. She takes hits so hard. Nice, level 13. Now I have to stay on for hours trying to get past that. Just grab whatever. Oh, they were asking, is there a rotation on belts and pads? And see, this is where the extra AC on my armor comes into play. Yeah, I'm not taking hits anywhere near as good as the tank, but I am able to hold my own. And somebody just rooted it so I can back up. In fact, I should put that on myself. I don't know why I didn't have root up. That was stupid. Because the great thing is, if you root something, you can back up and then you can meditate. Yeah, I'm not going to pick that stuff up. Go here real quick. Now, usually, they don't mind if you loot, but I really, really despise people who loot in a fight, which is why I just mentioned it, because that's exactly what I was doing, and I forgot, you know, that's not what you're supposed to do. And the reason they kind of hate when you are doing that is, for one, you're supposed to be either participating in the fight or meditating so that you can participate in the fight. So when you loot, that means you're taking time out for meditating or fighting while everybody else is doing something, and that's kind of rude. Second, if you're looting something... Oh, there's a train. If you're looting something in a fight, it's going to go by on their screen along with all the other damage that's being done, and they can't see what it is. Not that they're going to say, hey, I want that item, but a lot of people just like to stay up on what the creatures are dropping and what people are looting and making sure people aren't too greedy, and or just, you know, finding out what drops in the zone. And so when you loot during a fight, people can't keep up with that, and they miss out on that information. So that sucks too. And as well as when you loot in a fight, it go ahead, especially if you like split on, it splits it with the rest of the group. And that can be really annoying for some classes because monks have to worry about their weight. Really, really, all the way down to like the microgram basically, because if they go over on pounds, they actually start to lower like their AC, their agility, their dodge, things of that sort, simply because they're overweight. So much so compared to other classes. Nobody else even comes close to it. Plus, they don't usually start with a lot of you know, strength to begin with. I heard one monk that was telling me that he actually had 15 strength. That's it. TR is open if you want. That's cool. We can go inside the throne room. But he only had 15 strength. Let's see what this guy wants. Okay. Not quite sure what he's doing. But yeah, with that low I would say yes. Of course, we're about to lose our tank, but if we can find another one. Let's loot up these corpses, make sure we don't leave anything behind. At least anything worthwhile. Ooh, there's a royal guard coming at him. That's why he was waiting. But yeah, with 15 pounds is pathetic. I mean, my backpacks probably weigh more than 15 pounds. They're like 2 pounds a piece, I believe. Look at it, 3 pounds a piece. So he wouldn't even be able to wear or even have, you know, the 5 backpacks or 6 backpacks on his character without being completely overweight. And that's not even taking into account his weapons, his armor, which all weigh something. Later on in the game, you can get backpacks like the Swiss Sewing Evil Eye bag that actually reduces. Just snacked central or center. I don't know. Juking is just as bad as stunning. Yeah, enchanters really don't need to do anything else other than mez. I do know that they get a lot of stun spells, so it sucks when they can't use it, but loot this guy. No, nothing on that one. What is this? Words? Those are used for research on certain spells for like necros and wizards and things. And I don't think they actually start that or are able to start doing that until around level 20, I believe. But don't hold me to that one until I get my necro up a little bit more. And I can tell you for sure if that's the case. But yeah, monks have it difficult. That's one of the reasons I can never play them is they're not a poor man's class. If you're not rich, you're not going to get rich playing a monk. You're never going to be able to pick up very many items. The only item you're ever going to pick up are the named ones that drop off of, you know, named creatures that you can sell for a decent amount of money. Need this, Helen. Hearts of Frost. Magic item, lore item, no trade. So the guild is really talking tonight. I don't know what they're doing, but they're really active tonight. Not quite as active as I've seen in the past, but still pretty good. Let's see, are we going to move in or what? That guy's stunned still. You can see these guys are green to me at level 13, so it does suck to be out here. If we can get inside the throne room, it's so much the better. There we go. Is this guy green? No, he's blue. Trying to show him when we're ready to move up. Doesn't seem like everybody's coming, though. Kill it! Yeah, he's doing fine with it. In fact, I can go ahead and put root on. Oh, what a waste. Nothing inside there. So we moving up or what, guys? Okay, I guess we're not gonna move up. Well, that sucks. I was looking forward to the throne room. I hate to be pushy, but the experience out here is starting to get sucky. You know, about 1/4. I guess it's not too bad, but I'd rather be inside if I could. It's better experience, and with this healing power, I think we could do pretty well. I mean, granted, we could use more DPS, and in most groups, that's always going to be the case. You could always use more DPS, but you know, you can't always have the ideal group or the perfect group. It's just not possible for most part. It's incredibly hard to put together an uber group, and when you get one, that's why it's so special, is because it's so rare in the first place. So let's go ahead and move up a little. Hopefully with 2 of us. There we go. 3 of us. Great. Yeah, baby. Let's go. Now, if you're going to have 3 healers in your group, ideally, if you can swing it, the best thing to have is one of each class. A shaman, a druid, and a cleric. Because then you can have all the buffs from each one of those classes, and they all have the ability to heal at least, so you will be able to do a lot more with that. We have a druid. No, why? I guess he wanted sow or something. Harmony would be nice. Let me see. Soothe is all I got, but we could use that. Basically what that does is it puts them in a state of non-aggressiveness, and it allows you to pull one creature instead of pulling the whole room. But don't count on it working every single time, because it won't. It doesn't tell you if it takes on the creature, so you just kind of have to trust that it did. Cast it on the creature, cast it on the next one, try to cast it on all of them. I think it lasts for about 15-16 seconds before it wears off, and then you have to cast it again. So you got to be kind of quick with it. Although I think we're doing just fine without it. I don't think we really need that. It's nice to have if you don't have this many heals and this much DPS, but we're killing these guys so quickly. This is going to be awesome. Let's see, what level is this guy? He's even at level 13, so that's why I said it's about level 10 to level 15 you want to come in here. Anything below that, you're going to have a hard time. I came in here with my level 8 paladin, and he did okay because he was like the 3rd tank in the group. But if he was like the main tank, he definitely would not be able to keep up with that. And I'm saving my power. You're probably like, you're not doing anything. In fact, you haven't done anything the whole group. Well, I'm saving my power for those situations where we get in over our heads and they run out of power, or they decide to cut back on the power, and I'm able to do it. I don't want to fight them for heals, because then that's just a waste of power. They heal, I heal, and the guy's already at 100%. So my power just went to waste, or their power just went to waste. So I kind of wait until they slowly stop healing, and then I can go ahead and throw mine on. I've already tried using my direct damage spells. Didn't really do that much damage, and the one time I started doing it, the enchanter started to take hits, and then she almost died, and I ran out of power. The other cleric ran out of power, and that was because I was wasting power on damage. So from now on, I just try to stick with just healing. Like, there you go, right there. She's taking hits. So I'll go ahead and heal her. Go ahead and cast it on the other healer. That's one thing you gotta keep in mind, guys, that when you're a healer, the last person in your group that you want to heal is yourself, because you realize that you should just save that power for the tank. So it's kind of nice to have another healer in there to heal you, because he will do that, and you will do the same thing for him, but you'll be the last one to heal yourself. You'll just sit there damaged for, you know, an hour, waiting for your life to slowly regenerate before you ever spend any power on yourself. Thor, you look like you're wearing bronze, but you take hits like you're wearing plate, or planar. He got some high-level HP buffs. Well, that's nice that he got some high-level HP buffs. Now, I've already done a video of us over here that had a level 50 Cleric and a level 50 Enchanter come in here. And man, we kicked some serious butt when we were doing that. Let me go ahead and use Soothe. You see, you have to wait a couple of seconds before they are. There we go. And that is how you do Soothe right there, guys. Now, he was watching, and you can see the effects of other people's spells being cast, so you'll know when it's time. I know I'm not going to sit down on that bottle. That would hurt. Not that it would actually hurt your guy in the game, but still, you know. No reason to put your virtual guy in any extra agony than what he's already in fighting these creatures. Let's see, he's blue at level 13, so level 12, maybe a little bit lower. Let's see, I go ahead and use Soothe on this guy. I'll go ahead and use it on this guy as well. Give it a second for it to come back. And I'll try using it on the Legionnaire as well. I got the Oracle, but didn't get anybody else. We can live with that. That's not too bad. Granted, you want to kill the Oracle first, because they're just a pain with that whole blindness and things of that sort. Plus, he's won't get off yet. Grab a HP buff. Yep, thanks. There we go. The sound keeps throwing me off. Every time I move someplace, the sound will come out from like my right speaker or my left speaker, because it really is dependent on where you're sitting. If the fighting is going on your right side, you'll hear the sound coming from that direction. If you're sitting like right in the middle of the action, it will be coming from both speakers. So it's a very cool effect if you got the surround sound hooked up. When I got my headset on, it's kind of distracting in that sense that all that sound is coming from my right, which is why occasionally you'll see me move around just so that I can even out the sound on my speakers, so it doesn't sound like my speaker is going out or something like that, because it's kind of the effect I get. These games in the old days used to have songs that would be playing constantly, and I guess they realized that, because I watched a show on Star Trek one day, it's like a Discovery Channel thing, where they're showing like behind the scenes, and they were mentioning that the consoles, they make noise, and it sounds cool on the show, but after like 8 hours, 9 hours of the actors being in that position, it was giving them like horrible headaches, and so they actually had to like cut back on the sound simply so the actors could continue to do what they're doing. And it's kind of like the same way in here. The sound is beautiful and great when you first get in and you love the music and things of that sort, but after like 8 hours of playing and that constant sound always being in your ear, that constant music humming, it can be a little bit too much. And so they cut it back, and they actually made it where it would come on only every so often, and then they cut it back and made it where it was only in certain sections of certain towns or certain zones. And so if you got tired of the music, you could just move to another section. So that's why you don't hear as much music as I guess you could probably get in other games. But you know, it's kind of nice, and it's kind of, you guys all full here? Yeah, unfortunately. Yes, sir. For the moment. And it's nice to just go ahead and reply back to these people. I don't know how many times, and it's aggravating when it happens, is that you go up to a group, especially over in like Eastern Commons when I was with my Necro, and be like, hey, you guys have any spots open? And nobody says anything. You're sitting there, and nobody will ever respond. I'd love to assist. So he wants to be put on the list if you're keeping one, basically, when he says something like that. Just jot it down on a piece of paper, and then if a spot opens up, you go ahead and send him a tell. Usually, they will leave whatever group they're in to join. If they phrase it that way, that they would love to join if a spot opens up, chances are this is the spot that they want. And I can understand it if you are trying to level here and you're a little bit too high, like level 13 is a bit too high for most places in this zone. This is the one room that you can go to, so I can see people just sitting here in the back. Somebody did that the other day when I was here. They actually sat in the back of the group and they were casting heals every so often and casting buffs every so often, just waiting for a spot to open up because there's literally nothing else they could do. You know, the whole zone was camped, and this is one of the only spots they could really make a lot of experience, or a decent amount of experience. Lego is rooted, so I could back up, but he's not hurting me, so I'm fine here. Sit back down. And the royal guards, you can see they actually went right behind that throne, and I'll go over there in a second and show you guys as they go up there and pull again. There's a whole tower behind there. You go up this little flight of stairs to the right. It takes you up to this little tiny tower. And I believe that's where the divine guy spawns, the name guy. I don't know what his loot table is. I've only ever killed him a few times. And I believe we had gotten overwhelmed and I just missed what he had on him. But there's some pretty decent loot off of the name that spawns in here right in front of the throne chair. See, so I'll go over here and follow him real quick. Show you guys exactly what's over here. There's these stairs right there. So it's very cool. Pop. So they had repop on the room. And as I said before, there is a huge amount of experience in this room simply because the creatures spawn so quickly and so often that it's almost impossible for you to keep up with it. It's not impossible. There's groups out there that can do it. But you need a really good group. You need a really good tank, and then you need a lot of DPS to burn it down really quickly. You could probably get away with it without a healer if you had just enormous amounts of DPS and you could kill it that quickly, and maybe your tank who was doing it was a paladin or something like that who could kind of heal himself every so often. You could probably get away with it, but other than that, you're going to have more creatures than you know what to do with, and they're going to be spawning so quickly that you always have something there for you to fight. I guess I'll go ahead and loot this stuff. I don't believe there is a loot order or anything like that. Just trying to get rid of some of the stuff down here. Too far away. Now, in case you're wondering why everybody sits on the table as far as casters go, it's pretty much the only safe spot in this room for you to sit that won't grab you an ad. If you look over to the right, that's where that one guy spawned right on the corner. Over here in the room, pretty much nowhere in front of the table, because you don't want to be the first guy the mob sees when he spawns. When he spawns, if you're within aggro radius and there's 3 other guys within aggro radius, he's going to go to the very first one that's closest to him. And so you don't want to be that guy. You want to be behind the tanks. You want to be in front of the casters, because the casters tend to favor the furthest back you can possibly get, and that's usually not the safest spot either. As you can see over here, right behind us, a oracle spawns. Right where Keepin is standing, an oracle will spawn every so often. And so you kind of want to be in front of somebody else so that you don't get that aggro. You also want to be behind the front row group. So the table is right in the middle, and it's a pretty good spot. Plus, it gives you a nice little view because you're a little higher than the tank, so that if you are playing in first-person view, you're not blocked by people's heads, and you can actually see a little bit. Plus, it's just kind of cool to sit up here on a table. You know, it's not something you really get to do very often in real life, if at all. I don't know, other than when I was a little kid, the last time I sat on a table. So it's kind of that whole RPG. You get to do things that you normally would never ever get to experience. But experience is probably pretty good so far. Yeah, we've gone from a fourth of a bubble to almost an entire bubble. So that's definitely pretty nice. We're probably going to go ahead and end the episode here, guys. Again, if you like these episodes, there's the Oracle right there. But if you like these episodes, please hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely helps my channel grow, and I greatly appreciate it. Every time you guys do that, it increases the amount of games that I'm actually able to get permission to play. You know, a lot of the publishers won't really deal with you on a serious level unless you have a certain number of subscribers. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's really just the way it is. So if you could take that moment and just kind of hit that subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate that again, guys. And thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next episode.